On this episode of Inside the Blueprint, we'll learn about an award-winning landscape development and design firm who are transforming Denver's unique terrain into luxurious and stunning outdoor retreats. Creating a luxurious landscape on a large piece of land in Colorado involves thoughtful planning. Incorporating the use of high-end materials and unique features that complement the local climate and environment require immense skill. With 4 decades of experience in the industry, the experts at Landscape Workshop, Inc. are here to discuss some key elements and ideas to consider. Let's go inside the blueprint.
Landscape Workshop started in 1979 in Denver, Colorado. It was started by my father. My father had an idea of size of company. Mine differed from his, and it's grown quite a bit. My sons have a much different than mine, which is great because it all deals with growth, and the company's been successful for 45 years. There isn't anything we don't do when it comes to landscape development. If an owner wants it or a developer wants it, we will do it. We will do what we need to do on a project to make it 100% perfect. They're challenging, unlike I would say the Front Range or city developments. We have water rights issues, water rights attorneys that get involved, complicated landscape, bouldering, 1,000 tons of boulders, 2,000 tons of boulders, water features, liners, everything that has to do with making the landscape successful and looking right. We invest in the latest technology for all of that, systems that will help us accomplish the landscape as a whole. Pump stations or control systems that we're able to access them via Wi-Fi or internet, through our phones on the site, through iPads, or through the computer. It's made us, I would say, an industry leader in the states we operate in.
I started here when I was 15, literally pulling weeds. I grew to love it. I love working outside. Now I run the projects division. Now is just passion. I think you make it 20 years into anything, and if you're still doing it, it's because you're passionate about it, clearly. It's super rewarding to do what we do. I love finding the challenges now. I don't think it's a true project for us unless it has challenges. It's usually the ones guys are running away from that we hear about that come to us, and that's the project we end up doing because they just could not find people physically to do what they were asking, or what they wanted done. I think that's really pushed us to the forefront. We get into so much of it that we beta test for large scale corporations at this point. We're very in the know. We work directly with pump systems engineers, technical staff, reviewing all sorts of kind of engineering from the ground up inceptions to make sure that our projects are right. It takes hours of research and really making sure that we're putting it together from a systems perspective, because once it's here, we're in the middle of nowhere. It's running or it's not. So you're either up or you're down, and so I think we do a fantastic job of that.
It takes communication, vision, and intimate knowledge of the landscape to develop and design these unique properties.
The timeline varies from project to project. So some projects we've had in the books and working on for 7 years. So from our start point of when the landscape development plan starts and we're pricing and working through all that, and actually implementation and development could be 7 years, could be 1 year. It really depends on the complexity of the project. So plant material, for example, we're purchasing plant material years in advance. We contract grow perennials and shrubs, trees. We're the only contractor on the Western Slope that actually has our own nursery. So we store all our trees, around 5,000 twice a year. We bring them in, get them out onto jobs, and then reload back in. So it's that connection to the project that helps us in general. We're able to look at projects in the future and go, this is what we need. And the owners are able to look at us and go, okay, can you get it? And we have it. So it helps us in that side and how we look at the development side of a landscape project. We work with a lot of architects, landscape architects, and then we install based on the input of the ownership and the input of the architects so that we end up with a final product where everybody's happy with it. We're great at construction and installation, and they're great at the design side. We offer customization on all projects. Not any project we do goes in per plan, not a one. Plans are really schematic at best, I would say. Architects try their best to implement what the owners want, but because we're on the site for years, typically on our projects, because of scope and size, those owners are able to really enhance what they're looking at, which enhances what we do on the project.
This project came to us. It was a very quaint site, had a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of drainage issues, water going where it shouldn't be, water not going where it should be. Pretty much the typical for when we get onto these kind of plains sites. And really framing in these moments, I think that's something we're fantastic at, making sure we capture the mountains behind us. The owner had clearly worked with firms before, which is very typical when you kind of get to doing these large-scale projects. And just our initial convincing, I think after the first meeting, he was finally, a little bit more relieved to see the seriousness on our faces and that we could kind of really bring it to fruition. The purpose of this project for the homeowner, when we first got here, it was a lot like what we see. It was a hayfield that wasn't really making it right. And a lot of times that's how we see these lots come to fruition, right? They're a part of a ranch that just isn't doing that well anymore. In this case, imagine no trees here. There are like 400 trees now, aspen groves that reach out the back, pine and spruce plantings kind of leading along with what was natural kind of out of this corridor. I think our perennial count on this one very similar, somewhere in the 2,500 plant range. And so that's kind of what you're seeing as you make your way through this. It was about reframing the aspen grove that would typically be here and utilizing those views to our advantage. Not taking away from what nature already gave us, I think was really the end-all be-all for this owner. All the rocks on this site came from this site, were dug out of the pond, so everything you see featured here is from this site. We reused all of it. I think this one, in the end really came out. It was a team effort. That became our immediate challenge. How do we lower this grade, expand the pond properly, and give the owner views from the house, which again was literally 5 feet below. And then the next major piece was the owner wanted a dock. There's a 100-foot section here, essentially of concrete dock wall that had to interface with our pond, which becomes extremely technical, right? Because we've got a water source, we can't have any infiltrates. And kind of connecting the wells and getting everything in even was a challenge, because as we sink the site in, everything became flat, right? We've got parking we've got to worry about, we have all of these beds going out, and so right flat's the enemy. And we put in big bypasses to go around the ponds. That's how we do most of them. Blocking out all of the, transitions from the roads and really framing contextually for ownership, these major views. We make the most of any view we can. We have these long-lived maintenance contracts that are very atypical for our industry. I have a very low loss rate, and I joke on the other end, a very low client loss rate. And that's just, again, because we really try to hammer home that we're running a full-scale kind of operation that is clean-cut and sustainable and sponsoring things and everything that we think a company should be.
Sustainability and innovation are crucial in landscape design. From selecting the correct plants to choosing sustainable materials, every element counts.
Aspen and spruce trees are typical for this region. Daylilies, catmint, peonies, Shasta daisies, columbine. There's a host of perennials that, number one, gives you full season color and gives the property a full look, but also gives some native to it so that it doesn't look like, I'd say a sophisticated city urban landscape. Water conservation is really important to us. All owners that we deal with typically have water rights, and we want to be good stewards of that. So we look at their water rights. We have water attorneys involved in how we design our systems and the amount of water we're using on it. We want to make sure that we use what we need, but everything else gets put back and left for users down valley, or I would say all the way to California, because that's where this water ends up eventually. So it's important to the company, and has been for 45 years, that we are good stewards of the land, and that includes water usage. Sustainability is important in the Pickens County and Aspen area in general. They have a sustainability policy for stuff at dumps, like what you can haul in and out, what can come in. So you can't just go and take anything you want to a dump here. You have to be able to prove that it's not reusable, or if it is, that they can recycle it and reuse it. We have the topsoil taken off the site before everything begins so that we can actually skim it and fertilize it and then put it back onto the site. So we're reusing that material. It doesn't just get hauled off site. And if it gets hauled off site, we want to take it to another site. It just doesn't end up in landfills or someone's backyard just dumped as a pile. Innovation for Landscape Workshop is always at the forefront for our company. Whether it's in how we purchase trees, how we grow perennials or shrubs, how we secure those items. Same thing for ponds. We use the latest liners on them that don't degrade. We're using HDPE pipe for main lines and lateral lines. We use pump stations that are good for 20, 25 years. We use the latest and greatest on control systems so that we're able to access some Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or the internet so that everybody has the ability, including ownerships or owners reps or our own maintenance staff, can actually get into the property and understand it and be looking at everything, not just showing up to it, mowing and going or installing, and then you're out of here. They have to feel a part of the project, which has been really good for our company. We've been really successful because our employees care about their jobs and they care about the work. Our mantra is, if the family is the heartbeat, our employees are the blood, and we need them just as desperately as they need us.
Each project is a one-of-a-kind experience for both the client and the designer.
Deadwood Ranch, the owner was insistent on making this that scenario, that it looks like Deadwood. It incorporated the Deadwood and the Swearinger saga. So it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing site. 380 acres, and it is an operating cattle ranch. The project started for us about 3.5 years ago for the planning phases. So it's securing the plant material. There's 1,100 shrubs, there's 4,500 perennials, there's 130 trees here. So it's not like I can go down to the local store and pick it up. We contract grow, and we contract grow through multiple nurseries throughout the nation. It takes our purchasing department, it takes our estimating department, our supervisors in the field, all of them working together to make the project successful. Summers are short and winters are long, and so you're always looking for the plant material that will survive that situation, the long winter or a late frost or an early frost, right? Because in both cases that is an issue for plant material. That's probably the largest struggle. We understand plant material and what it takes to make a project successful and what plants to use. Irrigation is a major challenge. It's ditch fed, so we have holding tanks that hold water for it along with the ponds which store water. The ditch feeds the lower pond, but we also have a pumping system that fills the upper tanks in case the ditch goes down, so that we don't lose water feature and we also don't lose irrigation, so that those tanks then are fed by wells. So it's complicated in the aspect that we have automated valves, automated controller, everything has to communicate together in order for it to work and be successful, so that an owner doesn't call and say, hey, I'm having a huge party and guess what, my water feature's down. A lot of people look at technology in our industry and think it hampers, and it really doesn't hamper. You gotta understand it. We're on the cutting edge, and we always have been. It's just how we run the company.
A well-designed outdoor area can serve as an extension of the home, offering a sanctuary where families can unwind and connect with nature.
What you're looking at here was completely barren, just hay fields, pasture fields, if you will. The pond was actually put in as part of a deeded water right that the owner pursued. It feeds the entire 8.7 acre property. We did approximately 3,000 perennials in the end. The original was actually for about half of that. The other kind of hard aspect to this project is you'll see very proper gardens, so we work our way through, that come to these very informal areas where we're escaping to nature. That was kind of the owner's ultimate request here, which is a difficult one to fulfill. I think the other interesting thing is here we do have a recirculation feature. If the owner wants to pump more water, we can auxiliary or augment the water flow at the top by another 400 gallons. There is approximately, give or take, I'd probably say 10,000 square feet of sod here. Rolling into the actual native is roughly 8.7 acres in total. We're now in the phases of maintaining and dealing with a maturing site that actually comes with its whole own complexities, because we start to get shade profiles and other tolerances that mess up things that we initially had. And I like that because we're able to adjust with ownership, see what they really use and like about it. They think one thing in the start and it wholesale changes in the end, right? What do we want out of this site? How do we use it? With this team, I will sit in chairs with them and they say, okay, what do you see? Are you liking everything that you're seeing here? Does this look full? And so I like this team. I like being really involved with owners like that who really take the time to actually notice our work. So I like the clients that kind of are here and really know and like to look at it and enjoy what we do. From start to finish, the first being how is the client going to be involved? That's kind of the first piece, right? Even for any industry you're in, because sometimes they'll have a team and that will really inform us what they want. Do they love the design as it is? Is it a package we're getting that they love? A lot of times they'll want to tweak things throughout the process, especially in something so large. For us, it's really analyzing that, looking at materials, making sure they're appropriate. We do that from start to finish. Beds, depths, whether we're going into a seed profile, doing trees, wells, connecting our irrigation, we analyze all of it. That's what gives us the success of being able to irrigate the entire property based on water right, without pond drawdown. The owner can boat in there, they can fish, there's all sorts of ecological benefits to this pond. That's kind of what we focus on when we do our works anyway. So it's across the board, everything. We don't limit ourselves to anything. We look at even how grades may come out from the house. Are they right? A lot of times they're not, you would be shocked. And we're dealing with that in the end. So we're pretty much all the way up to the structural element and then out. And we put multiple takeoff versions in. We do multiple analysis just to see, and then our teams are multifaceted in that who's reviewing what is different members. So it's really all out on this kind of scale. You don't have a choice, or you end up with problems down the road. Every project has its challenges, absolutely. Yet to have one without it, but that's what keeps it interesting. I think we love that. We feast on it. We're agile due to it. In this case, the pond, coming out of the pond, realizing it was bigger at the last minute. This is all stuff we're years in the making on, right? And so same thing, challenging to do that. This project in particular, one that somewhat caught us off guard, high pressure gas line runs right through it. And we were very near it with the pond, believe it or not. And so that was a little bit of a sticky wicket, if you will, as we're trying to make our way through. Hey guys, by the way, they're gonna be out here, HPG line, right? So high pressure gas line running through, which is not normal. Tougher piece for this one too was just really delivering on kind of that wild feel for the owner. Those challenges are what make this, the best job in the world too. Coming in and making it right for everybody and having the sustainability of it all at the same time, it's rewarding.
As mentioned, Colorado's climate and terrain can present numerous challenges. Landscape Workshop, Inc. ensures a successful project by taking the time to analyze each step and before any issues can arise.
I can tell you, having done a number of projects over the course of my life, this has been one of the most enjoyable experiences that I've ever gone through. It has been professional, it's been on time, it's been on budget, and I think we've all managed to become friends and stay friends through the project, which may be the greatest testament to working together that you could ever have. Complete transparency, open communication, and they were on top of everything. I didn't have to pay as much attention as I normally would in a project because the father-son team of the McMichaels covered every base from day one, and we were in great shape. And one of the most interesting things, we're sitting here on the dock in this pond, which in the original design, the pond set up above the level of the home, you couldn't see it. Everyone said, no, wait a second, this is all wrong. You want to be able to see the pond from every room in the house. What you see is the final result, which I couldn't be more pleased with. David, Tim, and your whole crew couldn't be more thankful for our friendship, the project, and everything looks spectacular, so thank you.
Award-winning design plus a passion for landscape solutions equals a truly stunning and luxurious outdoor space.
The future holds expansion each generation. In order to make a company successful, you got to give that generation their run. He's already taken that roll on, and we've had expansion based on his vision for stuff into other locales. It's been good, really good.
I see the same thing. I see a lot of expansion. I see a lot of room for growth. You don't lock yourself into any one thing. You're expanding your horizons on all things. And that's been really rewarding. I think the future is nothing but bright.
It's inspirational in the fact that you can look at a company, and there's companies worldwide in the same situation we are, and if you spend enough time and you believe in what you're doing and you offer the products that need to be offered and you do the best you can do, people appreciate that, and you'll be successful.
For more information about Landscape Workshop Inc., visit their website, landscapeworkshopinc.com. And, of course, visit our website, insidetheblueprint.com. For more information about anything you've seen on today's show, or to become part of Inside the Blueprint, go to our website, insidetheblueprint.com.